and Assalamu alaikum. Ultrascan Diagnostics here. This is the CBCT of the patient that you had requested. There isn't a specific area of interest, so we'll show you throughout the scan. This is the OPG of the patient. We can see that there are multiple implants. Some implants are placed center of the bone. There are other implants which are placed not very center of the bone. We'll take you from the upper right hand side quadrant. So this is the distal most, which is supporting the second molar. So this is the distal most implant. You can see center of the ridge. We do see sinusitis associated on the right hand side. This is the implant slightly mesial, again center of the ridge. We do see a little bit of a bone loss around the collar, but nothing significant. We've got the upper right hand side. You can see that the implant is slightly placed buccally, and you've got very thin bone all around. This is the implant in the front, again not placed very center of the ridge, very close to the buccal cortical plate, and we can see that there is also bone loss around it. Moving to the other, this one slightly center of the ridge, but we can see that the bone around the implant is not very appreciable. This is the upper right central incisor. This is the mesial part of the bridge. We can see that the implant apex and the implant buccal side is completely out of the bone. This is the pontic, which is the upper left central incisor. Moving to the upper right lateral region, so this is the implant there. Again, this is one slightly center of the ridge, but again, not significant bone can be seen around it. This is the upper right hand canine region. This implant, unfortunately, is placed slightly palatally, so we can see right there. We've got good buccal bone around it, but there is very, very poor palatal bone at the palatal section of this implant. This is very deep. We can see that the bone on the buccal side is there's no radiolucency around it. The upper left first premolar region, we can see that we've got bone present here, slightly appreciable bone. If we can show you here, that's the width and that is the length, 5.2 and 8.8 millimeters. Moving to the upper right second premolar region, second premolar region, we can see that the implant is placed in the middle, but again the bone support around it, this is a thinner implant and a shorter implant, but the bone support around it is not very good. Moving to the lower left quadrant, in the lower left quadrant we can see that the implant, the lower left premolar and molar region does not have any solid bone. We can see that there is some grafted bone here, but in the second premolar region, we can see we've got approximately 7 mm of width and approximately just 7 millimeters of height to the inferior alveolar nerve. So that's the premolar region, and the first molar region we can see that we have approximately 5.9 millimeters of ridge width and approximately 8 millimeters of ridge height to the inferior alveolar nerve. Moving to the implants in the lower left premolar and canine sections, this is the distal implant. We can see that the bone support around it is not very adequate, but it is placed center of the ridge. The implant slightly mesial in the canine region can be seen. This implant seems to be doing very well. It has good bone support center of the ridge. Moving to the anterior zone, this is the anterior zone of the patient. The patient has very weak, this is the lateral incisor, very sclerotic canals. Moving to, this is the central incisor, root canal treated, no periapical radiolucency. This is the pontic on the lower right hand side. So the lower right hand side has a 4-unit bridge supported by 3 implants. This is a cantilever bridge. The mesial cantilever, we can see we've got good adequate bone here, which is approximately 4 millimeters in width and approximately 9 millimeters in height. The interesting part begins now when we see that these implants are placed. There is bone loss, and the implants are placed just next to, this is the inferior alveolar nerve. This is the mental nerve canal. We can see this is the mental foramen. This orange part, and see that the implants are placed right in contact with it. We don't know if the patient has any paresthesia. We can see half of the implant is out of the bone and there is significant bone loss. This is the implant on the lower right side, and this is the molar region. and we can see that the implant is placed very quite lingually. There is again bone loss quite significantly and very close to the inferior alveolar nerve. This is the second molar region, and we can see that the implant is completely placed lingually, not center of the ridge, and this probably is perforating the lingual cortical plate, and the soft tissue will be showing signs there. So this is the CBCT. If there are any further questions, please feel free to reach to our team. Thank you very much.